The mission of a company is the overall aim of the business. The vision of a company is the future plans of the business, and that has to be communicated to all employees. Company values, they might be to seek growth, to be very sustainable environmentally, etc. Business objectives. These are short-term targets that you want to achieve in the first few months or the first year. They have to be smart, specific, focusing on one target at a time. Measurable, achievable, realistic, time-related. Stakeholders and their influence. Now, these are people directly affected by your business, including owners who've got views on what you should be doing, employees who've got opinions as well as legal rights, customers regarding price, quality, delivery, etc. Financiers, so anyone who lends or invests money in you and they will want their return. Suppliers who want their payment promptly and in full, and also the local community. Aims is a very broad term. Objective is the steps you need to take to achieve your aim. So think about the aim could be to make a profit of £10,000. Now the objectives are the things that you have to do to make that profit of £10,000. Skills required to set smart objectives. Now these include problem solving, so knowing how to analyze a problem and to solve it. Creativity, you may have to think outside the box on occasions. Innovation, so trying new ways of working. Team working, communication skills so people know what you're doing. Full attention to the job in hand. Attention to detail, so everything's correct and nothing's been missed out. Time management, so everything's done on time. Organization. Forecasting, so looking ahead, asking those what if questions. And integrity, so being honest and having good morals. Now, companies can have different objectives and different reasons why. So think about to achieve X amount of sales by the end of the year. This is to achieve growth. To achieve X amount of profit by the end of the year, to maximize your profits. To establish 2 branches by the end of the year, growth again. To set up a subsidiary business in China by the end of the year, again, growth. To break even within 2 years, so typically if you're a brand new company. Now, it could be to survive. So think about the COVID outbreak. That was the objective for many businesses during that COVID outbreak. Or to become market leader by the year 2024, for example. Now, sometimes success is not always measured by profit. So think about measuring in terms of turnover, market share, or how much you have helped people. Now, just because you're growing, that does not necessarily mean that you're becoming more profitable. Think about your costs. Are your costs going up higher than your revenue are going up? Revenue could be more than sales income because you can include bank interest that you receive, rental income coming in, return on investments, sales of assets, etc. Corporate social responsibility, CSR, concerns the way that the business behaves towards society as well as to the environment. So think about plastic packaging, waste disposal, or any charity they might get involved with. Also, fair treatment towards stakeholders such as employees, customers, suppliers, etc. Market analysis and planning. Now, the first thing you have to do is analyze the market that you wish to enter. So think about your target market. Okay, who are your intended customers? So what would be their age, their gender, income bracket, location, expectations, what sort of service are they expecting, what quality of product do they want, will they purchase it online or do they want to walk into a shop, will they expect discounts, where do they currently shop, what time of day, what things are they buying at the moment and how often. What's more important to them? Is it cost or is it quality? Where do they live? In a city, a town, countryside, or is there a mixture? And what type of house do they live in? Primary and secondary research. So now primary research is research that you have conducted yourself, so this is called first-hand research, providing new information. Now it could be external sources or it could be internal sources. So internally, you could find data on your production costs, your sales figures, your employee records like in appraisals, for example, and any repeat customer information such as from a loyalty card. Externally, you've got things like customers testing new products and giving feedback. You can have questionnaires, interviews with customers or potential customers, focus groups, or a mystery shopper where somebody goes into a shop pretending to be a customer to see what their customer experience is like. So primary research is good because it's specific to your business, but on the negative side, it can be time consuming and it could be expensive if you're employing an agency to do it for you. Secondary research or desk research has been gathered by other people. Okay, so it's second-hand information, maybe from a website, book, newspaper, industry report, or from the government. Now, it's very quick, it's cheap, it's easy. But on the negative side, it may not be specific to your business, and it could be out-of-date material, and it may not be very reliable material either. SME, small to medium-sized enterprise. Now, you measure a company in terms of the number of people who work for it. So a micro business is 1 to 9 employees. A small business is 10 to 49 employees. A medium business is 50 to 249 employees. And a large business is 250 employees or more. Sole trader. The owner owns all the assets of the business and is responsible for all its liabilities and debts. The individual is called self-employed and must file a tax return, where all the profits of the business are treated as personal income, and it's subject to income tax and national insurance. The owner and the business are the same thing by law, and there is unlimited liability, so they could stand to lose their house, their money, their car, etc. if the business were to fail. Partnership, so 2 or more people set up a company together with the intention of making a profit. There's usually a legally binding partnership agreement drawn up detailing the amount of capital each is invested into the business and how profits or losses will be distributed between the partners. Risks, costs and responsibilities are generally shared. As with the sole trader, the owners and the business are the same thing by law. And again, there is unlimited liability, so you could lose your money, your house, your car, etc. if you were to fail as a company. Limited company. So a company incorporates on an official government website for a nominal fee and has to have 2 official documents. So the first one is called the Memorandum of Association, stating that initial members have formed a company. There's also the Articles of Association, which is a contract between the company and its members, setting out a legally binding rules of the company, who is entitled to make what type of decisions, and who has what form of ownership and control. Now here, the owners have limited liability. That means you can only lose your initial investment should the company fail. Now by law, the owners and the company are 2 separate legal people. Okay, now people who have a legal dispute with the company may pursue the company's assets to settle a debt, but not the personal assets of the owners. Public limited company is like a private limited company, but now the shares are bought and sold on the stock market and anybody can buy them. Okay, again, like before, you've got the Memorandum of Association, you've got the Articles of Association, and again you have limited liability, so you can only lose the initial amount of your stake. Okay, and again, you don't lose your personal assets, only the company assets are at stake if there's any kind of legal dispute. Franchise. So a business pays for the right to operate as an agent for another company's products or services So the most famous example is McDonald's. You've also got Costa Coffee, Starbucks, and Subway. Not-for-profit organizations are typically charities, a voluntary organization, and they've got a cause, so maybe fighting poverty, helping the environment, etc. So you might want to help people, to help animals, to help the environment, etc. So reasons for change in ownership, it could be things like the retirement or death of the current owner. You might move from being a sole trader or a partnership to being a limited company, so maybe for financial or legal reasons. There could be a buyout where one company invests in the business and take over, or there could be a merger where two companies come together to become one new company. Also, there could be the reason of business failure. 5C analysis, so 5 elements that are applied to business, so customers, collaborators, competition, company, and climate. So for customer, think about market size, market profile and segments, the benefits to the customers, where and how they buy the products and services, so the channels, the frequency and the number of purchases. Collaborators include suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, or any other partners that we work with as a company. Competition may be direct or indirect. Think about the market share they have, the products and services that they offer, including the benefits, the weaknesses of their products, the type of product or service they have, is it luxury or basic, so the positioning, and any unique selling points, USPs, they may have. Analyzing competitor activity, so we can find out what they're selling, so what sells well, what does not sell well, what products are they developing. So rather learn from their mistakes rather than your own. It's much cheaper. So look at their pricing, look at the offers they give, their pricing strategies. Think about their location, their access to customers or potential customers, and go onto a comparison website and look at their customer reviews. So company is the mission, the culture, the ethos of our company, the products and services that we offer, the image of the company in the market, and the technical expertise that we have. Climate, pastel, political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal. Porter's 5 forces model. So now this helps us to be aware of the influences of the competition from 5 different aspects. So first of all, the threat of new entrants. So can a rival start offering a similar product or service to ours? The power of suppliers. So can we control suppliers and the cost that they can charge? Generally speaking, the fewer suppliers, the more you have to pay. The power of buyers. So how easily can buyers drive down prices by having plenty of choice? The threat of substitutes. So how easily can a customer switch to a similar product with another company? Competitive rivalry. So how much competition is there, both nationally and globally, and what sort of products do they offer? SWOT analysis. So looking at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats of your business and your products or services. So here you can see a SWOT analysis for Coca-Cola, for example. What if scenario? So think about a potential decision and the possible outcomes of that decision. Okay, so think about for a farmer, what if there is extreme weather, so a drought or flooding? What if my skilled worker is unavailable? What if there is a high mortality rate with my livestock? Sensitivity analysis is asking a lot of questions. So things like, what will we consider to be successful? How can I prove that this will be the best course of action? What would a worst case scenario be? and how would this scenario affect our business? What areas can we reduce costs in? Guys, thank you for listening. Please could you subscribe and like, as it helps us to produce more and better videos like this in the future. Also, could you comment below what type of information you would like in the future as a guideline for us. Thank you again, guys, and see you all again soon.